Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the Flatout Racing Network's coverage of the continuation of the 64th season of the Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series. This is race number 6. We're in the home stretch of the regular season, getting down to crunch time for drivers to make preparations into securing themselves a spot in this season's playoffs. We're back here under the lights at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, coming off an off week last week. Obviously, the NASCAR duels were running, so the drivers all took an off week to be able to observe that. The week before, we ended up having it come down to fuel strategy. The leader at 2 to go, under pacing laps. Kelly Causey could not make it. Brian Schilling had the fuel to go the distance, picking not only up his first win of the season, but carrying the points lead into tonight. I'm Seth Cole, alongside of Michael Norman, Kyle Matthews, and guys, you know, there's some drivers, they've got wins here. The defending champion Nofsker, Grant Wesley, we just mentioned Brian Schilling. They're sitting pretty, but there's a lot of drivers hovering around that cut line down there, 12th in the standings, that don't have a win, and maybe at this point, desperation's starting to set in.
Yeah, I think the pressure is definitely going to be on here, like you mentioned. We're just getting even closer to the playoffs by each race, and I think we're going to see the aggression pick up just a little bit more tonight. We definitely saw it the last time we aired a race here at Talladega, so see what's going to happen here at Burnt Screwdriver.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You know, we see all these cars lined up out here, including a decent front row here. We'll see how there's a lot of 7s in the first 2 rows. But actually the first 3 rows, including the outside there. But I'm more excited the fact that my favorite driver is back, and he's starting in the outside of the 4th row.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of mentions tonight of Randy Waugh, I think.
Luigi.
There's the first one of the night. We need a Randy Waluigi counter. I don't know why we haven't made something like that yet. That probably has to be a thing. As now we're getting the cars rolling off of pit road. Another full field tonight. Couple of drivers, unfortunately, had to go home, including Jeff Crivello and Tom Dixon. But the 42 cars that will take the green flag here tonight are as follows. Cy Jones gets the pole position alongside of Jessica Shelton. John Godfrey will make up row number 2 with Greg Lovell. Nate Balser is in row 3 with Donnie Garrett. Mark Paglia joins Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
I was going to say, do we have a number 2? Back in the 4th row, in row 5, top 10 complete with Brian Lovell and Graham McDonald. Robert Breedlove, he's back in row 6 with Bobby Farrell. Row 7, Keith Bynum and former winner in the season, Grant Wesley. The most recent winner, Brian Schilling. He's going to make up row number 8 with Terry Bombard. Row 9, Josh Metallic and Bernie Mobbs. And your top 20 will be completed with Billy Elliser and Mike Mangialardi. Two-time winner on the season, the defending champion of the series, Tim Nofsker. He's back in row 11 with Ulysses Sandoval. Row 12 finds Denny Carroll and Craig Hagley. Row 13 will be Doug Hulick and Chuck McClure. Row 14, Richard Martin, Rodney Sullins. And your top 30, former winner on the season, Bob Dixon and Bob Seminara. Go back to row 16 where you find Glenn Harris and Jeremy Jeffries. Greg Palmer, he's going to make up row 17 with Pat McCarsky. Row 18, Ron Hagel and Dante Ricky. Row 19 where we find Josh 2 making his season debut here tonight alongside of Ken Roberts. And then you got Dunn LaPrade, Brian Rawson. They're back in row 20 with the 41st and final position, Jason Scheck in the 13. Well, Kyle, you ended up making your booth debut at this racetrack 3 weeks ago. Mentioned about the fact that it seems like the previous 2 times this season we've come to Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, they have gotten really racy. It'll be interesting to see if the same will be said here tonight, especially with us getting this close to the end of the regular season. We're also down to our final 8 on the winner's side of the bracket. We'll talk about who those matchups are in just a few moments. But as they head through the tri-oval, we're getting ready for 66 laps in race number 6 to be under the green flag. And already problems at the back there. Oh, and problems up at the front.
What is going on here?
And I think we've had ourselves a server reset. Okay, so I believe, if I'm not mistaken...
Yep, that was a server reset. I think somebody could have blown a gear before the start.
I was just going to bring up, they do have in place, if somebody does end up blowing a gear on the start before the green flag, that they do a server reset. So that would be the case here. And it will give us a little bit extra time here, I guess, to be able to talk about some other preliminary stuff. So, while they all grid back up and get ready to roll off the grid once again, Talk about the point standings coming into this one, and let's highlight the drivers coming into this race. Top 12 in the current points right now, which would point their way into a playoff position should the regular season have come to a close 2 weeks ago. Brian Schilling, we mentioned, after getting the most recent win, he's got the points lead. The only driver, I hope I'm not jinxing him here, but the only driver in the first 5 races that has not only finished in the top 10 every race, but in the top 5 every race so far this season. He's got 8 points in hand over 2-time winner Tim Knopfsker. Grant Wesley, a former winner of the season, sits 3rd in points. He's 27 points back. Chuck McClure, he's 37 back in 4th, and Jeremy Jeffries is 44 points back in the 5th position. Craig Hagley currently sits in 6th, Ulysses Sandoval in 7th, Mark Paglia 8th, Josh Metallic 9th, Donnie Garrett currently in 10th, and then Kelly Causey and Denny Carroll currently are your top 12. However, Denny Carroll is tied with Mike Mangialardi at 71 points each, so there would theoretically be a tie for that final points transfer spot, and a lot of hungry drivers less than 10 points behind that cut line, like Greg Palmer, Terry Bombard, Glenn Harris, Rodney Sullins, and others. The only driver right now outside of the top 12 that has a victory, but is inside the top 20, so his win would count towards a theoretical wildcard spot, would be Bob Dixon. He currently sits 15th in overall points.
Bob Dixon won at this very racetrack last time we were here, so.
Your very racetrack.
His first win in this series. I don't know. What do you think, Kyle? Are you going to bring some good mojo to another driver get their first Tally Challenge win here today or something?
Kyle, don't answer that, because that's a trick question. He's trying to jinx you.
Well, we'll see what happens.
I mean, we haven't broken Kyle in with the commentator curse. He's got to have his first one at least.
Okay, who are you choosing?
Where's the hex going?
One thing I think we should keep in mind the last time we were here at Burt Screwdriver Raceway, we saw a lot of green flag racing, like a very long green flag run to start out the race. We saw a number of green flag pit stops. And during those pit stops, we saw a number of drivers make some mistakes, had some speeding penalties from pit road. So I'm sure that's in the back of a lot of people's mind heading into this race.
Seth, during those pit stops. The
pit stops! But you bring up a good point there, Kyle, because we're already talking about some drivers maybe getting that feeling of desperation. They may feel like they have to overstep the edge just a little bit if green flag pit stops occur and could run into mistakes
Mario
again. All right, we got our race restart out of the way. Cy Jones,
again here.
Yep, ready for take 2 here in that number 7 Sunoco machine. Waiting on the flagman to wave the green, get race number 6 underway.
Hey,
and we're racing at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway.
I was almost the flagman.
Were you?
Yeah, you don't remember?
Nope.
I got a checkered flag signed by Matt DiBenedetto.
Well, that's only partial flagman then. You kept telling the drivers the race was over even after lap 1 was complete.
Dude, we'll see if that outside lane gets the run here. You got Cy on the inside, but not very tightly packed, not like the outside lane here. Ooh.
Looks like Jessica Shelton going to inch ahead here, but here comes Jones back on the bottom.
Ooh, slides up just a little bit. It's a little hard to stay on the bottom there.
There's a lot of movement in both those lanes right there. 2nd, 3rd, 4th cars in line, not really able to stay directly behind the cars they're pushing.
Now, a lot of the drafting help comes from those that you've got to trust. So you got some drivers that like that side by side and make it a little difficult to hold a steady line, and you just can't really push them because they're not staying still and taking the bumps the right way. And I can see the 7-Eleven and others behind him, and you can tell that they want to just get around him. But if you see him, he's peaking. But
Jessica Shelton leads lap number 1. It's been a rough couple of races for her the last couple of races out here, so she could really use a good run tonight.
Yeah, you look at the top 2. You got drivers out here. They're looking for points to move up into the top 12 in the standings. They're looking for wins to get wildcard spots. But the top 2, there's Shelton and Greg Lovell. They're just looking for a good night. Both those drivers just barely had themselves locked into the field this evening. Top 35 in points, 34th and 35th respectively. They were trying to organize a 3rd line back there. I saw Ulysses Sandoval had jumped up there to the 3rd line. I think Bernie Mobbs is up there as well, but they I don't know if some drivers kind of ditched the third lane or if they just didn't get themselves very well organized. The momentum's not quite there. Looks like they're trying again. They've added on some more drivers up there in the top. I think that's Bob Seminara, third car in line. The Crayola, number 23 of Doug Hewlick up there as well.
That inside line just really fell apart, and they're trying to build it back up here, but it's going to take a little bit.
By your top 8 or 9 single file in the middle line, and then around the 10th position is 3 wide. Cy Jones, Bernie Mobbs, Nate Balser, Ulysses Sandoval back in this group. It now almost settles out to double wide until you get back to the 8 of Glenn Harris and Rodney Sullivan's in the 38. Still trying to make something happen there on that top side.
Still all the middle lane here. There's an inside lane just doesn't exist right now, and we'll see if they're going to keep calm like this, or if we'll see an inside lane or even a third lane as they're trying to form back there. We'll can see what happens. Seth, and once they get single file, a single file line runs a lot faster than lines running double file,
especially when they're in that middle line. That middle line, much like Talladega that we were at 2 weeks ago, we'll be going back to next week. Usually the preferred line. More often than not, because you don't have that push-up off the corner of 2 and 4 that scrubs off just a little bit of speed. I mean, there's only about maybe a half mile per hour, full mile per hour of scrub off, but that's enough to kill the momentum down the straightaways. Middle line, you can stay in the throttle a lot longer. Car doesn't get nearly as tight on exit, which is why you see your top 9, 10, 11 cars all lined up there right between the white hash marks.
That is so weird to see, though. Usually you would think the bottom line would be the preferred line, and the middle groove would be, a lot of times is referred to as the sucker hole, but it's a lot different here at the Burt Screwdriver and that Talladega.
Got Donnie Garrett right now, third car in line in that 77. Donnie just above the 12th in the standings cut line coming in tonight, 7 points to the good, 10th in overall standings. Donnie so far this season, though, has only had 1 top 10 in the first 5 races. So, you see a lot of times people will put a lot of emphasis on wins. They'll put emphasis on consistent top 5s, consistent top 10s. But when you've got a point system that awards the top 12 in the standings a playoff position, regardless of if they won or not, you could consistently finish in the top 15, top 20 with full fields every week. And mathematically, it's conceivable that you could actually point your way into the postseason.
Yes, it is. And, Kyle talked about pit stops earlier. We got to remember, pit stops, you can go usually about 19 to 20 laps on a tank of gas.
And we saw fuel come into play 2 weeks ago.
Except if you're the leader.
Yeah, the leader, well, I believe the leader can actually go 19 laps. But they definitely can't go 20. I think the minimum they can go is 19. I don't think they can only go 18. I could be incorrect in that, but I'm pretty sure that they can go at least 19.
Why don't you just hop out on the race check and go tell us?
Yeah, I should. Got Graham
Got
McDonald.
some action there on the bottom there. That 28 car starting to lead that inside line back up there, it looks like.
That's Mark Paglia, 8th in overall points. And now he'll pick up Grant Wesley, who jumps down in front of him. He's got the points leader Brian Schilling behind him. Josh Metallic as well there in the 39. Got a pretty good cluster of drivers here that are up inside of the top 12 in the point standings. A couple of former winners in that mix as well. As we got trouble in the back. That's Keith Bynum. Got into Richard Martin, and we've got a big pile up here through the center of 1 and 2.
Dante Ricky involved. Jeremy Jeffries in it. Oh, and they're still wrecking.
Brian Lovell back there. I believe Denny Carroll, the country time number 41, was collected up.
Ron Hagelin.
Some of these drivers back here might have actually gotten on the brakes to avoid.
Dunlop Prad's back there. Don't know if he has any damage or not.
Yeah, we saw Ken Roberts down towards the inside. He may have avoided. A lot of drivers back here may have not have gotten involved, but certainly got on the brakes to be able to make sure they weren't collected up. But that started, I believe, with the 63 of Keith Bynum. We'll go back and take a look at what exactly happened there. It was back in the 3-wide situation, if I'm not mistaken, as well. This is going into turn 1. Ooh.
A little bit of contact there with the Smokin' Joe's car.
That'd be Terry Bombard in the 10. Hard to tell from that angle if the 63 came down, if the 10 came up. Could be a combination of both.
Looked like they were just going for the same piece of real estate at first glance, but we'll take another look at it.
Get another angle here. Go to Michael's favorite camera angle.
TV2.
TV2.
Oh, that was definitely not a lot of space there.
63 got up and on its side. I'd be a little concerned about him and the 43 of Richard Martin. Both went head on into that outside wall. See Brian Rawson back there got collected. Jeremy
like
Jeffries, I think, only got clipped in the left rear. I don't think he really got much damage.
Like a lot of cars near the tail end of that. Looks like they just got on the brakes. I don't think a lot of them didn't get involved with it. I don't think.
Let's take a look here just past the start-finish line. Let's watch the 10, see how far down he is to the inside. Yeah, it almost looks like from that angle, 63 might have come down a little bit. They definitely looked also like some hitbox came into play. Nate Balser, I see back there, he got involved. There's Rawson just barely getting clipped in the 6. Pat McCarskey was also up riding the outside wall to slow his momentum to not get involved in the incident any further.
I don't think anybody DNF from this, but we're going to have quite a few cars that's not going to be up to full speed now.
I believe one driver did DNF. I think the Keith Bynum machine may be out of the race. I just noticed that he is disconnected from the TeamSpeak server.
That makes sense, son.
Yep, can confirm. He is out of the race, so he will be the first retiree finishing 41st place here tonight. A couple drivers going to stay out here under this first caution period, get a bonus point for a lap led. Terry Bombard, one of those drivers here. He'll obviously be pitting the second time by. Looks like Jessica Shelton may have won the battle off of pit road of the drivers that pit, so if these 4 drivers that have stayed out at this point in time do come to pit road, 9 is going to inherit the race lead for the upcoming restart. Also interesting, the timing of this yellow. Caution came out at, I believe it was midway through laps. Oh, it was lap number 8. Okay, I was thinking it was 7, but if it was lap number 8, then that's even more interesting because that means that these drivers now should be able to make it the rest of the way on 2 stops. Normally, when we start the race, if we go green to the finish, they find themselves after 2 pit stops somewhere about 7 to 8 laps short on fuel. We just ran those 7 to 8 laps that they needed. So now, it's a 2-stop race from here on out.
I'm glad you can do the math.
Yeah, right? For real.
Not very well. Repetition.
Right. Sure it is.
We do not have any lap machines. 63 did retire out of the race under this caution period, so let's see if we get the lights out this time or not. Nope. We'll just get the one more lap here, and then we should get the 1 to green signal, but Jessica Shelton will be the one to lead us back to green. We mentioned about the fact that the Bracket Challenge Championship is still ongoing. On the winner's side of the bracket, we're down to our final 8. And the matchups here tonight are as follows. Tim Nofsker, number 1 seed, going up against the number 8 seed Ulysses Sandoval. Mike Mangialardi and Glenn Harris, 12 seed and 13 seed, going up against each other. Bob Dixon, who's the 18 seed, he's taking on the number 10 seed Donnie Garrett, and Brian Schilling, the number 3 seed, facing off against the 27 seed Richard Martin. The winners of those respective matchups, Nofsker Sandoval, they will face off against the winner of Mangialardi Harris. On the other side, the winner of Dixon Garrett will face off against Schilling and Martin in the final 4 on the winner's side of the bracket.
His name is actually Schilling Martin.
Schilling Martin.
Oh, wait, I don't know, Zach, what you were talking about, why don't you do it, Michael? Oh, was that back when I said something about getting on the track?
Probably. And apparently Matt called you out saying that you'd be too chicken too. He would only be too chicken if Joe DeSpirito and Bob Seminara were in close proximity. Speaking of which, Seminara in the field here tonight, but no Joe DeSpirito. So not sure what's going on with the multi-time former
Matt.
champion, but hope everything's going well with Joe.
I may have put Matt in timeout for 60 seconds.
You can't do that to a moderator, can you?
I am a moderator.
But he is too. Oh no, he's not a moderator. He's a
He's a
subscriber. You can't do that to him. Seth and not doing math name a more iconic duo. Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate you.
So, I mean, it's interesting to see Jess choose the outside lane, but then again, it's not because
It
as long
worked
as she
for her
gets
at the start.
Yeah,
It worked for her at the start, and look who she's got behind her. Greg Lovell. She was working
yeah.
well with him in the early
but look
going.
who's-
So,
why are there two 88s in the second row?
well, one's an 88 and one is an 880.
I mean, that's still a lot of 8s.
I mean, if we could get Tim Nofsker up here in the 088 and make it really confusing.
It's like quad 8s. That's a good poker hand right there. A real good poker hand.
That's yeah, it's like 4 8s. Yep.
What would the 0 be?
The,
An illegal card.
I don't know.
The vodka martini next to you.
4 8s with an ace. Yeah, I'll take that.
Eights,
Oh, yeah.
aces and 8s.
Isn't that dead man's hand? You don't want to be
Yes,
a
it
dead man.
is.
Aces and 8s, right?
Who was it? Who was the, was it Wild Bill Hickok? Was that who
Yep.
got shot while holding
That's
the hand?
right.
Okay.
Yep. And that's why they call it ace. That's why they say aces and aces.
Right.
The dead man's hand. There's your poker lesson for the night.
There it is. All right, so as we got the lights out here on the
I'm
back
so
straightaway, we'll
thankful.
go green this next time by. Jessica
I'm so-
Shelton going to be the race leader. Randy Waugh
Luigi.
will be the second place driver. He'll be on the inside line, though. Grant Wesley lines up third. Greg Lovell fourth. Donnie Garrett fifth. Then Bobby Farrell, Mark Paglia, John Godfrey, Brian Schilling, Josh Metallic. That's going to be your top 10. 40 of our 41 drivers all running, still in the lead lap. Only driver out of the race at this point in time, Keith Bynum in the 41st position.
Bineman. Dylan Young, Michael being a diabolical with mod, and what is it that Server Snape said? Always.
Always.
Severus. Is it Server, Severus,
Severus.
Severus?
Severus.
That's pretty cool. I just noticed the ticker with the number font and everything. That's pretty cool. I don't know why I never noticed that before.
Yeah, hopefully
Anyways.
this time it's showing all the correct numbers.
I mean, as far as I see it is right now.
Yeah, so far. Been having some kind of an issue where it wants to... I kind of fluctuate between 3 different sets of numbers, and sometimes it will show numbers from a different set. It's like, no! Show what I want you to show!
Anyways,
Alright,
green
green
flag
flag
is back out. So what's 20 laps from here? So we should be seeing pit stops roughly
Right
around
around
lap
halfway.
32 to 33. Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside lane not as formed up as the inside lane is on this restart here. There's a big gap, but we'll see if Randy can, and he will clear the 9 car. Will he stay up or go down?
Going to stay committed to the inside line. We'll see if that middle line charges back with the momentum down the back straightaway. Not just yet. Shelton only to the right rear quarter panel of Grant Wesley going into turn 3. If you're eagle-eye sharp here tonight, you may notice a driver with a slightly different look. That would be the former champion Chuck McClure in the 17. Still with the Race LM Arena sponsorship, but a little different colorizing on his machine. Yellow numbers on the roof. Stands out a little bit more there. And he's actually jumping up to that third line, trying to lead that with Tim Nofsker and others.
It's a nice move there by Grant Wesley. Once he was clear of the outside line, he jumped up there, and the 77 went with him.
Not sure what was going on back here, but there was a lot of movement around Bob Seminara and Chuck McClure in this 3-wide situation. They've got it all straightened out now. This is around the 11th position.
Look who's got the lead now.
Grant looking for his second win on the season. When he got that first win, he talked about just how much of a load off his shoulders it was. Grant missed a grid portion of last season.
A grid portion?
Grid portion, yes. Shut up. did not
Ladies
make his
and
way into the
gentlemen,
playoffs
club
this
of the
season,
day,
locking
Grant
himself in with a
Powershin,
win. If you didn't realize, I'm ignoring you.
that very clearly thinks he's a pirate.
Yar har fiddly dee.
I'm just waiting for Matt
Being a
McIntyre to
pirate
say
is all right
something
with
in the
me.
chat after that.
Yar har fiddly dee for 7th position. They're going 3. There you go. There's your line for the night.
Okay, I get you that one. I'm going to calm down a little bit now, but yes, I will give you that one. Also, Matt, shut up. I was gonna say.
Don't,
I was gonna
don't get
say
us in trouble, Michael.
Yeah, I was gonna say something, but
That was the slowest insult I've ever heard. Shut. Long pause. Up. Who are you?
Michael,
Lana?
I'm impressed. Michael has a filter.
I have to when I'm commentating. Oh, look, Jessica Shelton goes to the inside, but nobody went with her.
Bobby Farrell also moving down there to the bottom. Look at the 3rd lane. Lot of momentum up there for Josh Metallic. The Tim Richmond throwback.
Yep, it goes Metallic on the outside, but you see that middle lane very quickly died out when they saw the 3rd lane coming.
And that's been a typical thing of this particular racetrack where you get drivers up in that 3rd lane. It helps the inside line, stalls out the 2nd lane.
I have to say that middle line did become the sucker hole right there. That thing
Now
just
there is a middle line, so now if I was a 9, I probably would have moved up to the outside. But here comes Metallic with the push.
I know 39 has a lot of momentum going right now. I don't know if jumping up in front of it would be a good idea right now.
You've got to make your move when you can. Like right now, she's got him cleared. She'd have to move up, but the inside right here, you see the run they get immediately off the corner, 197 miles per hour coming off of turn number 2, just in the middle lane alone. But here it comes.
But the tough thing about if you're going to move up to that middle line where the momentum is, you got to time it just right to keep the momentum going. If you move up too early or too late, you can completely stall that momentum out and start dropping back.
I've done that before, done it at the worst possible time. It resulted in a wreck. So, I mean, it's definitely a risk when you definitely have to know what you're doing. If you're
so you went to the Joey Logano, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. School of Blocking.
Yeah.
I look up here at some of these drivers as well. We documented a number of them up in the top 12 in the standings. They haven't won yet, but they're currently in position to point their way in, like Garrett, like Metallic, McClure. We talk about the sense of desperation, but I mean, ooh, wow, little uneven bump right there.
From a little bit out of shape there.
Yeah, McClure. But I mean, obviously every driver wants to win. That's why they take the green flag for this race, but
really? I thought that you take the green flag just to survive.
Just to have fun, yeah.
I'm not having fun anymore.
For some of those guys that are up there pretty comfortable in points right now, how much are they considering big picture racing to just keep themselves up there in the top 12? But also, does the mentality change with that kind of a scenario where you think, okay, I've got that little bit of a cushion, now I can up the ante, be a little bit more aggressive to try and get a victory, because there is a bonus point payout for each victory you get.
77, boy, that was
and that's
really
going
close
to kill
there.
that momentum on the inside.
There is a bonus point payout for each race victory that you get during the regular season when the playoff standings are recalculated.
Recalculating. Look at the outside lane. Look at that 3rd lane.
car had to recalculate there just a bit ago. Nice save to hang on to that thing.
Well, there was a 2nd lane, but again, the outside, the top 3rd lane killed it. And look who is leading that outside lane. I believe that is the 23.
Yes, it is. Doug Hulick. This racetrack very special for Doug. This is where he got his first and up to this point only career win in the Talladega Challenge Series.
Dante Ricky.
That's Ulysses Sandoval right behind him.
Yeah, Dante Ricky trying to create a 4th lane up there, pushing to 21 to the middle lane.
Oh, Paglia!
Wow, how did they save that?
I don't know. I'm not even really sure what happened with the 28 there. I didn't even see contact made, but he did slide up into Hulick, and Hulick used that bright blue outside wall to be able to keep the thing pointing the right direction. Didn't even really lose much momentum. He lost maybe 1-2 positions right there. Still up to speed.
Lifters or losers.
Should be about 13 laps away from pit stops.
Can't believe how aggressive everyone's being this early in the race. I mean, we talked about that before, during the pre-race, but I thought that would at least happen, once we're past halfway, once we're done with pit stops.
And normally around this portion of a run, we see them settle in a little bit. Michael talking about the number of laps we've got until they'll have to start thinking about green flag pit stops. It's normally when we start getting around 4 to 5 laps away from a pit stop cycle that they'll get aggressive, because they say that 1 or 2 positions that you gain on the racetrack could translate to 5, 6, 7 spots after the pit stop cycle is complete.
Carnation TV over here, full house. If I could ever figure out how to get the new RLM arena working, I should get back into some RTG stuff.
Hey, good to see Blaine in our chat there.
Jessica Shelton moved down and try to lead that inside line now.
Not really much of it left.
Little ways back there. Now going to pick up the 21 of Randy Waugh.
Luigi.
You got Greg Lovell down there, Burning Mobs, John Godfrey, Rodney Sullins, but that is a battle side by side for 7th place right now, I believe. Actually make that 8th position.
But even then, the inside lane just isn't here. This is old school NASCAR racing, on the super speedways, where there used to be, freight train for a little bit and then get racy towards the end. That's what we're seeing right here, except it's not against the wall. It's in the middle lane.
Well, there is going to be a point here where we're going to see all these drivers in the middle line. They're going to jump down to the bottom because we get closer to that lap 33 mark. They're going to want to have the easier access onto pit road, not have to pit from the second lane.
They've been racy since the drop of the flag. I don't know what you're talking about, Michael.
When it gets closer to pit stops and they start settling down, usually all it takes is one... Yeah, so usually all it takes is one caution that usually gets them to settle down a little bit. But, once we get to the second half, we'll start seeing it. We'll start seeing them 3 and maybe trying to go 4 wide in some points, which never really works.
And we've already talked about the fact, too, coming into tonight, there's only 4 more races in the regular season including this race. But also consider the fact we talked about that there was no race last week. They went through about 2 weeks of racing withdrawal. So as soon as that green flag dropped, they're ready to go.
Now that inside line's starting to come back. We had a few more cars jump down there, and now we've got about 3 different lines again.
Donnie Garrett in that Ultimate Garage Floors number 77 Chevrolet. This is for 6th between himself and Mark Paglia. Ooh, things really breaking up there. Shelton going to swap up to the middle line. Dante Ricky trying to get a 3rd lane going back there. I believe that's Dunn LaPrat he's got with him in tow. Bob Seminara, Jason Scheck, who started shotgun on the field, now almost up into the top 15. And here you go. Most of your top 5 or 6 all migrating down now to the inside line as we're about, 6, 7 laps away from pit stops. Oh, what are we doing back here?
A couple cars on the apron.
Yeah,
like, and
I think Breedlove was on the apron, and we were almost 4 wide for a moment there through 1 and 2. I'm not sure what exactly happened back here. Whatever it was, they settled it out.
I'm not sure if there's a yellow line roll in this series or not.
There is.
Okay.
But the car that was down there actually did not advance his position, so he should be okay. Josh Two-Way back here. Not sure what's going on with the Josh's Eggs machine.
Don't see any damage.
He might have been involved in that wreck, so he might be down in some power because he's only hitting 181.
He is, yeah. Bailey Elliser, we know, was in the middle of that wreck as well.
In the middle of the street.
That, of course, would be a throwback to the Kodiak car, if I'm not mistaken.
Sure looks like it. Back to the days of Rusty Wallace and Kenny Schrader, both having that paint scheme.
Wonder if Josh charges a 50-cent surcharge on his eggs like Waffle House. And for those wondering, yes, that is a thing.
It is now.
Are those eggs cheaper than what you can get at a grocery store right now? That's the real question.
That is a good question. I'm not really sure.
Now everyone's migrated down to the bottom. Now you see the outside line. They need a lot of help up there. Jessica Shelton and the 21.
You can see how she switched lanes. Everyone was on the bottoms. Now she's in the middle lane. So they're approaching the lapped cars. We are 27, 28, 29, 30. At the very least, six laps away from the first round of pit stops. And there goes Josh too to the outside to let everybody go by.
Yeah, Josh pulling a little double duty, not only driving but also in our YouTube chat here. Apparently, he lost the draft, and so he's hoping a yellow will help him out. Only car now at this point 1 lap down, so he would be in the lucky dog position. But first rule of Super Speedway Racing: don't lose the draft.
Wait, he's racing in our chat?
He is.
That's impressive.
So for some people,
I can't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time.
For some people,
Caution! There's the yellow.
Ooh, and he just went a lap down too, so he should.
Oh,
lucky.
wow!
Oh, big.
Never mind, he was involved in it.
Yes, he was. Brian Lovell, Bobby Farrell, Robert Breedlove, Bernie Mobbs.
Car back there still hitting the wall.
Some of these others might have been involved. Graham McDonald looks like he's got some right side damage.
And this is what happens when you text and drive.
Well, I mean, if Josh didn't cause the wreck, then he's absolved, but...
We were looking at him. I don't think he...
Blaine says Josh is always texting and driving. And this is what happens. Josh, wow, famous last words, Joshua, too. Maybe a yellow will come.
I mean, that's a law here in Ohio. I don't know I don't know how it is for the rest of the state.
Oh, it's a law in New York.
A law here in Florida, too.
Let's see what happened.
Wow, we've got 3 commentators from 3 different states. I would laugh hysterically hard if it was because of him.
There's no way. There's no way it's him.
It better not be because of him.
There's no way it's him. Let's see.
Nope,
it was ahead of him. Bernie Mobbs. There must have been a stack
he almost
up.
made it through. Oh, he might not have a lot of damage.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, Jesus.
Hello, Bernie.
Wow, what a...
He still might not have a lot. He hit the back of his car, so he might still be up to speed.
That's a wild ride for the 31 car.
And I believe if we focus on the 31 of Mobbs, I think it starts with him. I think there was a stack up in front of him that then led to Terry Bombard getting to the back of the 31. It just led to a chain reaction here. Oh, yeah, no, Greg.
Something happened.
Yeah, Greg got down the
had
apron.
A problem.
Well, did he have a problem before going to the apron? Oh, and then he got plowed.
Yes, he did.
There.
That was Brian Lovell in the 044.
Josh is always texting and driving. Dylan Young. Brad Keselowski would be disappointed.
Okay, well, Brad didn't text. He sent out an Instagram photo. Or tweet, yeah.
Blaine says...
And it was under a red flag, too, wasn't it? He was just sitting there on the back straightaway?
Yeah.
Blaine said Josh would be in the middle lane in a 30-car field sharing memes with the broadcast.
I think that happened during the red flag of the infamous jet dryer incident.
Oh.
USA score, says Dennis McCarthy. I'm not sure what's playing right now.
Isn't there USA versus Canada going on right now?
Yes,
there is
a hockey game.
Yeah.
Oh, the 88 just started kind of turning sideways, like he got bumped.
I think he did. I think he just barely got bumped on the entry to the corner.
Yeah, it was definitely
our pole setter, the 7 car, got collected in that as well.
Cy Jones.
I think a lot of times Jones is just happy to make the race, and you know what? All the power. Cy gets out there. He gets a lot of screen time.
It's Nate Balser, Craig Hagley, Graham McDonald, Greg Palmer as well. Jeremy Jeffries all collected up. Drivers that we didn't originally know had gotten bits and pieces of the incident.
Well, this is an interesting timing for that caution. As you see, some guys coming off pit road right now. We were just talking about green flag pit stops should begin around lap 33. We're a couple laps short of that, so I wonder how that's going to affect things for the rest of the way.
Well, depending on when we go back green, let's theorize we go back green on lap 32. I don't think we're going to get the 1 to green this time, so it more than likely will be at the completion of 32 onto 33. Add another 19 laps onto that. Yep. You'd be coming into pit road then at lap 52, which would put you 14 laps short. So we still are looking at only 1 stop to the finish at this point in time. Also, didn't document this. This happened about 14 laps ago, but we did have another retiree out of the race. In our first caution, the 2 drivers took the biggest hits into the outside wall were Keith Bynum and Richard Martin. Bynum retired immediately after that wreck. Richard Martin ran a couple of laps realized his car was not up to speed. He came to pit road, made the left-hand turn to the garage area, so he is also out of the race in 40th position. And we will wait to see. We saw Josh 2 involved in that incident, but was the only car one lap down. We will wait to see if there's any confirmation on whether or not that takes him out of the running for the free pass position under this caution or not. We'll know that if he pulls up here next to the pace car and goes around at the 1 to green. If not, then he would have to wait for the next yellow to be able to get the free pass.
Imagine there not being another yellow.
It's possible. We've seen it before. We've seen races run all the way green flag from start to finish.
I would love to see a green flag finish tonight. That'd be nice.
Yeah, last couple of races have ended under yellow. We had the close battle to the caution 3 weeks ago, where Bob
Interesting.
Dixon was able to win the battle back and led the final laps under pacing. Last week, or not last week, but last race 2 weeks ago, we saw Kelly Causey under caution, not have enough fuel to get to the end. Brian Schilling picking up that winning under yellow, and here's the answer to our question. Here comes Josh 2, that 85 around the top side, so he'll pull up alongside of the pace car. When the lights go out, he'll go around, get his lap back, so all 39 drivers that are still running will be on the same lap as new race leader Craig Hagley.
That's a lot of green and white up there.
That is.
Interesting news out of wrestling. The Rock will be on SmackDown tomorrow.
Huh. Was not expecting that, but okay. That should be interesting.
Ooh, take a look at this, Kyle. You talked about topping off. Let's see. Looks like Craig Hagley is thinking about doing just that. A couple others back there. Saw Brian Rawson peeling off. It's an interesting strategy because lights will go out. We're going to find ourselves at least having to have one more green flag pit stop here, which would be around lap, what did I say, lap 52, I think it was. So that would put us at about 14 to go. You'd have to take on a can and a half of fuel to be able to make it that far. So with what we're seeing with those drivers coming to pit lane, they may be of the assumption that these drivers that stayed out are going to have to take on 2 cans of fuel on their pit stop, where they're only going to have to take on a can and a half, which may end up gaining them more track position after a cycle is complete. Of course, if caution comes out, that strategy is completely out the window, but even thinking that far ahead here, only halfway through this race.
I believe that was the only... The Skull car, I think that was the only one that came back down pit road to top off, too. I'm kind of surprised by that. I thought there'd be... a lot of people would also do that.
Brian Rawson in the 6 also came down. And then Bernie Mobbs and Josh 2, the lucky dog driver, came down to top off.
What's it to ya? I'll be here all week.
I was going to say, how long did you work on that one?
About 3 seconds.
Okay. It's actually fun because there were a couple of races that we ran in the series run by a buddy of ours, Joshua Mercurio, and Josh 2 actually ran in them.
Pit, not tonight.
So we ended up having Josh 2, and we called Mercurio Josh 1.
Oh, Jesus.
It's kind of like the Dr. Seuss thing, 1 thing 2. It was interesting.
Josh 1, Josh 2. Josh Red, Josh Blue.
All right. Gonna be halfway home here. Lap 33 will go up on the board. Grant Wesley, Brian Schilling, Tim Knofsker, your top 3, all former winners on the season. Then Metallic and McClure, your top 5. Green flag back in the air. We'll have to keep tabs on that 31 at Bernie Mobb. Saw him just catching up to the tail end of the field. We saw him flipping on the apron of 1 and 2. You'd have to assume that car going to have some aerodynamic damage. Could be off the pace here. You can see already they're already losing that draft.
Looked like Wesley got a little bit too good of a restart right there. Kind of left the 088 car. Didn't have any help on the bottom. That's going to allow Schilling to get the lead on the outside.
Wesley going to battle back on the bottom. Tries to draw even off of 4, but that momentum going to be in that middle line. Metallic all over the back bumper of Schilling. Paglia right behind him. Dunn LaPrade. Brian Schilling looking for his 2nd win in a row. Another former champion, multi-time champion of the series. And I'll keep saying it again because it is a main talking point. The only driver so far this season to have scored a top 5 in every single race so far here in season 64. I think the biggest streak we ended up talking about in previous seasons, this was a number of seasons ago, was where we ended up going the entire 10 regular season races with 10 different drivers going to victory lane. Needless to say, that made things very interesting when it came to those last wildcard spots. Inside line's not been able to really challenge the middle line, but they haven't lost ground either. Grant's actually going to get back alongside of Schilling, but they lose the momentum, it seems, on the straightaway, only by about maybe half a car length at most.
Somebody about lost it right there. I believe that was a 23 car. Got out of shape, but managed to save it.
Seen a lot of dancing out of these cars, and I don't know if it's that they're getting uneven bumps, if they're having trouble lining up their front bumpers with the back bumper of the cars around them. Saw almost a moment back there with the bright pink and yellow 41 of Denny Carroll, middle of the pack. And look at this 3 wide now. That's Dunn LaPrade up there on the top side. Bob Seminara as well. That's 3 wide for 3rd. That's going to stall out the middle line a little bit. That allows Grant Wesley on the inside to get clear for the race lead.
Well, you talked about having a 088 up front. Now he is.
Now he is.
Now where's the 882?
He's back there behind the Crayola car.
Can't tell which is which. They're all colorful to me. Who's leading that? And look who's leading that 3rd lane.
Well, it's about to be the 40 or the 84 now, but you're talking about Dunn LaPrade.
Goes at the block, and he tries to stall the momentum out, and then runs to the middle lane there. Now he can tuck back down behind the 21 if he really wants to.
That really helped the bottom line. There's about a 4 or 5 car, little bit of a breakaway.
Woohoo!
As soon as I say that, they
just wants to stay to the inside. He's going to get around the 17.
Offscrew made a move there on Wesley. He may pay for it.
Comes the middle lane, and look at Dante. He's going to go straight up to the outside lane there.
Shelton's getting a good run on the bottom there. Can she get all the way to the lead?
She's not going to get pushed quite there yet. The very outside lane has the momentum here. What lap did they go back green?
Lap 32's completion onto 33.
All right, 33.
Right at the halfway point.
So about 50, about 50-ish. Lap 52, maybe 51, 52 should be when these cars have to come down pit road next.
Dante Ricky, we've seen in the last couple of seasons on a part-time schedule. He's made 3 of the 5 previous starts so far this season.
Oh, my
Outside
gosh.
the top 35 in points as well. He's had to, last couple of starts, race his way into the field on speed. I believe he is 36th in points coming into this one. Only 6 points below said cut line. Pretty easy to say that he'd be up in the top 35 in points that would lock him into the next race if he were to win here tonight.
3 by 3 in the back. These guys are darting all over different lines here, trying to figure out which they want to go with. But right now, the inside lane has all the momentum.
Keep an eye back here, still around this 3 wide, about 5-6 rows deep.
There is a lap car they are catching.
Is that Bernie Mobbs, I
Just about
believe?
to say that. Yep, there's.
It is the 31. Off the pace. Obviously, after the barrel roll he had under the last yellow. Bernie coming into this one currently in 31st in the point standings. And he's just out there logging laps, hoping that this turns into a race of attrition, more drivers with damage, more drivers out of the race for him to be able to kind of pick the bones and grab a couple extra points before the conclusion of the evening. Every position, every point could be very important. At the end of the regular season, we got trouble at the back. That's Mark Pagley
28 went around.
I think we're still green, though. That was down below the yellow
Bob
line.
Dixon, too.
Our winner from this racetrack last time we came here 3 weeks ago.
Still green, I believe. Still green.
We are indeed still green. Remember, for Dixon, he's got to stay in the top 20 in points for that win to count towards a playoff spot. He's 15th in the points right now.
And look who's battling for the lead.
Randy Waugh,
Luigi.
who had a 2-week hiatus. Coming back, trying to see if he can capture his first win in the Tally Challenge Series. There you see that lingering smoke from the incident involving Mark Pagley and Bob Dixon. They have both continued on. But obviously they have lost the draft. And woo, big move there. Here comes Lake Speed. Jason Scheck to the top side.
Who's that trying to block that lane?
I believe that's Bob Seminara.
Both of the almost similar painted cars side by side, the 711 and 712.
Season 62, 2 seasons ago, Brian Rawson pulled off the last to first challenge, starting shotgun in the field and picking up what would eventually be one of 2 victories on the season. Jason Scheck in that 13 started dead last, and he's now up here inside of the top 10. Could he do the last to first challenge here tonight?
Is Randy going to look? Yep, there he goes. Let's see. Is he about to go to the outside lane? Ooh, got a good bump. It's going to stack up a little bit on the outside. But it got him a good run through the corner.
Picked the right line there, but now inside line charges back. Here comes Wesley for the race lead with help from Shelton. Middle line now, their momentum stifled. Only 4 cars, and they're losing ground through the tri-oval.
Oh, and they're about to put the 21
Oh,
in
Randy
the
might have gone. Yeah, he went to the middle. That might not have been the best choice.
I don't think he went there. I think he was put there.
Seminara got to his right rear.
This is going to help that inside lane. There's 5 cars on the outside now, 6, and at least 6 to 7 cars in the middle lane now, so that's going to help the inside. Should be roughly about 10 laps or so away from pit stops. Question is, will we finally see some hot pitting?
Just a lot more organization on the inside line right now. Grant Wesley, Jessica Shelton been working well together so far in this run.
Bob Seminara, who comes into this race 22nd in the standings. Had a great season last year, was one of several multi-time winners. Advanced into the playoffs, but has not gotten off to the best start here at the start of season 64, trying to find some positive momentum here down the home stretch. Another driver as well trying to do the same thing would be Rodney Sullins. He's now in that battle for the 5th position with Bob Seminara. Rodney coming into this one 18th in the point standings. Only 1 top 10 so far this season, the first 5 races. We talked about the 880, Michael. He's back up here. 4th place now for Greg Lovell.
All right, he's almost up here. Now we need the...
Now Knopsker's falling back. We can't get all 3 of them all up here together. And now Seminara's going to get stuck in the sucker hole. Jason Scheck going to go around his outside.
Not a lot of people left in that very outside lane.
Or really the second lane for that matter. So what, 5 in the middle line, 4 in the third lane? Most everybody's migrated back down to the bottom of the racetrack now.
Got Sandoval, Metallic, Jeffries in that middle lane. couple of other cars back there as well.
We'll keep an eye up here at the front of the field as well, because remember, our last caution came out when a lot of the front runners came down to the inside line, and we had that checkup going into the corner into turn 1 that led to that wreck over in the middle of 1 and 2. So even though these drivers look like they've settled down here into single file, there are still some pitfalls of super speedway racing that they do have to deal with.
We should be in their fuel window starting now.
And you alluded to it, Kyle, the last time we were here a few weeks ago. Number of drivers, big name drivers that are very good at pitting under green flag conditions, getting hit with speeding penalties. This pit stop that we've got coming up, should it be done under green, this is the money stop. This is the only stop they're going to have to make for the rest of the night. If you get a penalty at that point in time, it's going to be very unlikely you're going to have enough time to be able to come back.
You know, everybody's thinking about it too. A lot of pressure here if this is a green flag stop.
Definitely single filing out now.
Lap 46 was just completed there. Michael, you said, what, lap 52 roughly about the target laps? That's about 6 laps out from now.
Now the question is, Seth, is that a can and a half? Or what are we thinking? Can and a half? If you're about 16 laps out? That would be my guess.
You'd be about 14 laps out, so yeah, can and a half I would think.
Tires or no tires?
A lot of people, they like that added security with right side tires. For me, oh, here comes some drivers already pitting.
Down.
That's
wow,
Greg Lovell, Donnie Garrett, Randy Waugh.
Luigi. Yeah,
Bob Seminara, Nate Balzer, Denny Carroll.
Pit stop right here is full two cans.
Yes. Brian Lovell, Graham McDonald, Mike Mangialardi, all coming to pit road right there. There you see Mark Paglia going a lap down. Remember, he was involved in that incident off of turn 2 that didn't bring out the yellow. Does this force the hands of all these other drivers here that might be thinking about going to lap 52?
I saw stuff lighting up. Very possible.
Keep tabs, see if everybody's able to get under the speed limit by the time they get to the commitment line. Here come in a bunch of others. Don LaPrade, Dante Ricky, Robert Breedlove, Glenn Harris, Ron Hagelin, Cy Jones, Josh Two, and Billy Elliser. Dante Ricky, the highest running of those drivers, along with Don LaPrade. They were 11th and 12th last time by.
I'm not sure, Seth. I mean, even though some people are pitting now, you stay on your strategy. You come in, you trap them a lap down while you're running in a pack, and then you come in and take less fuel. You might still come out with the lead.
Well, it also depends on how many drivers are on your same strategy.
Speaking of coming out with the lead, Ulysses Sandoval just took the lead throughout all that, but I don't think he's going to lead at the line.
Ooh,
oh, Grant.
Actually, he did. Never mind.
Grant very aggressive there on the entry to pit road. One of the best in the business when it comes to that.
Grant's been black flagged before.
He has. That's true.
The last time we were here, I believe he got a black flag for that.
You also saw the 079. That's Nate Balser coming back down pit road, and looks like he's actually going to take service here. He may have missed his pit stall the first time he came in. Greg Lovell was also back on pit road in the 880, so he might have gotten hit with a speeding penalty.
Keep an eye on that pack on pit road, see who comes out first, because that could potentially be the leader.
Here's your current race leader, Metallic. Look at the traffic he's having to deal with here. Now he in. Looks like the rest of those that stayed out are going to come to pit road. Rodney Sullivan's very aggressive there on the entry. Jason Scheck has that very first pit stall, so he had to get that thing woed up very quickly.
I mean, technically, we have the very last pit stall.
No, actually, we don't. We've got the 23rd pit stall.
Then the 789, whichever, is that the server?
That would be the server, yes.
Then the server has the very last pit stall.
Talked about keeping an eye on that pack and who might emerge as the race leader. Could be this car, the 96 of Sandoval, who we saw swing around the outside just before they hit pit road.
Yeah, but they're going to eat.
Nate Balser, we saw him pull into his pit stall. Looks like issue for him, wheel problem is what we're seeing as the diagnosis, and he is out of the race. Also looks like Brian Lovell, when he came to pit road, also retired out of the race.
I think Sandoval may have taken fuel only right there to get out ahead, but didn't keep the lead for very long, at least, in theory, in the lead.
Potentially, Randy Waugh,
Luigi,
who is up to speed, might be the race leader. Here's Metallic. This is going to be the battle right here. This is exchange for the top position on the back straightaway.
Yeah, they ate up the 96 in a hurry.
So now it's a question of who's going to be up in this lead pack in the conversation. Eyeballing it, I'm seeing about maybe 15, 16, 17 drivers that might be up in this lead pack when all is said and done.
Let's see who they are.
We'll wait till they cross the line here. Randy Waugh should be
Luigi,
the race leader. Nope, they're scoring him second. Brian Rawson actually is the leader. He just completed a pit stop, actually. So he went the furthest of anybody.
and now he's waving goodbye to
And
everybody.
got his lap led. So it will now be the 21 of Randy Waugh as the leader.
Luigi,
Donnie Garrett would be second. Dante Ricky third. Dunn LaPrade fourth. Fifth place would be Ulysses Sandoval. Dixon's right there, but he is the first car lap down. Doug Kulik would be sixth. Robert Breedlove seventh. Eighth, Tim Nofsker. Ninth would be Brian Schilling. And 10th position right now, Chuck McClure. 11th would be Josh Metallic. 12th, Jeremy Jeffries. 13th, Ken Roberts. 14th, Rodney Sullins. 15th, Jessica Shelton. 16th, Craig Hagley. And Grant Wesley, who I believe was second when the pit stop cycle began. He's going to cycle around the tail end of this pack in the 17th position. And then you got this group from 18th on back. They might still have a shot of maybe getting up here, making this a big group. I mean, I think this is, looking at it, back to around 27th place. That could all catch up here. That's a lot of drivers to still be in the hunt for this win, closing in on 10 laps to go.
And usually you would think green flag pit stops would kind of break up the pack a little bit, but I think we're still going to have one big one here before too long.
inside lane trying to form.
Take a look at some of the drivers we've got up here in this conversation now, leading this pack. You've got Randy Waugh.
Luigi,
He's looking for his first win in his career in the series. Donnie Garrett's been a while since he's been to victory lane. Same for Dante Ricky. Dunn LaPrade, he's looking for career win number one. Sandoval's looking for career win number one. Hewlett's looking for his second career win at this very racetrack, as a matter of fact. And then that inside line, a lot of drivers that are no stranger to victory lane. Two-time winner on the season, Nofsker. Last time out's winner, Brian Schilling. Former champions in McClure, Metallic, and Jeffries, all on that inside line.
here comes 96, Ulysses to the inside. Gets a good run, and he's going to bring that 088 with him.
Ulysses Sandoval with a runner-up finish to Grant Wesley. That, I believe, was back in race 3. Came up just shy of his first career victory. He's had an incredible start to this season. 7th in overall points. Only 57 points out of the top spot. Looking very much like he's going to at least point his way into a playoff spot. But he wants that checkered flag. And whoa, look at this moving up at the front. Garrett took a look. Randy Waugh slammed the door.
Yeah, I don't think he's thinking about points right now.
It's amazing how in super speedway racing your priorities can change in the matter of even just a corner.
Yeah, but you still got to watch. The outside lane can still get a run.
We are approaching a pack of about 3. I believe our pole sitter, Cy Jones, is in that group. Same for Greg Lovell and Billy Elliser. Those 3 are all on the tail end of the lead lap right now. And they're going to be caught here, I believe, through 1 and 2.
Stay on the outside, boys. Dante falling back the outside lane, really losing it here. So Randy's just in the catbird seat for right now.
Greg Palmer is the last driver in this lead pack right now. So we have 24 lead lap cars in this lead pack. Got a couple of lap machines intermingled there with Bob Dixon, Ron Hagelin. Right now they are the 2 drivers that would be in the free pass positions. The other lap cars, Mark Paglia, also -1, Bernie Mobbs, 3 laps down to leader, and there goes Jeremy Jeffries around into the tri-oval.
Oh, yep, and there's a big one.
Denny
Just
Carroll
spinning.
slides in. Shelton's around. Godfrey's
Oh,
collected.
Shelton just got clobbered by the 111.
Jason Scheck, Greg Palmer, Denny Carroll. Whoa, Josh 2 nearly just hit Jeremy Jeffries there.
Well, now this is going to bring out, what is it? I think this is, what, the third caution of the race?
Believe so.
Yep.
And it's going to make things a little bit tougher for Randy now that he has to deal with the restart here. There is no pitting. You should have enough gas to make it to the end.
First car I saw go around have a problem there was the 1.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it was a bad bump.
Right in the center of the tri-oval as well.
Whoa, too far there, sir.
Car behind him is Doug Hulick in the 23. Dixon ahead in the 143, and oh,
Bump grab.
Yep.
Jess almost had it saved, but the no grip in the grass is what hurt her. And then the 111, who gets unintentionally turned,
yep, by
clipped
the 6.
and turned into her.
And then watch right here, Jeremy trying to Josh 2. It's like, I'll go to the wall. Wait a minute. Nope. Change my mind.
He was probably texting.
Probably. Probably checking out the price of eggs.
Eggs.
There's a look at it again. It's hard to tell if the 23 bumper grabbed him from behind, because before he bumper grabs off of Dixon, the 1 looked awfully out of shape. Let's get an aerial view real quick, and then we'll see how some of those others were collected up. Let's see if there's any contact prior to the 1 getting to the back of the 143. Oh, nope. Got into 143 twice.
God, it's Randy. Joshua too. Almost really got into that one for no reason.
Now you can visualize sound effects. Just your skirt.
I hear wham.
Let's take a look at the other drivers that got collected up there. Denny Carroll, Jessica Shelton. Denny Carroll, I believe, is actually out of this race.
G. Shelton got it straight, but then there's just no grip in the grass.
Right there, left side of your screen, you see the 111 get redirected after contact with the 6.
Right there, she would have been fine, but I think when the 111 got into her, I think that might cause her to be under power now.
That was a hard hit there from the 111. And when she got into the wall as well.
And you saw the 41 of Denny Carroll slide back across the track there.
I don't think the side damage would have been enough. These cars are very durable, but that's right on board. Somebody.
Let's find first what happens with Denny Carroll. Oh, just gets clipped by John Godfrey. And
then at that point, you're just like, let me out, and then backs it into the wall. And then here comes the rest of them.
And then everybody else just slides in.
Slide to the left.
Oh, Josh! Oh, no!
Oh, he did get in.
He did get clipped.
Oh.
Just like us screaming, "Oh, look out, Charles!" during our wrestling shows.
Well, I think a driver that'll give us a very good view of everything that went on would be the 13 of Jason Scheck. He had a lot of movement around him. There's on board with the spam machine.
Oh, then he gets clipped, but he saved it.
Oh, gets hit
Never
twice.
mind.
Ron Hagelin, little drift. Look out, Cone.
He might have gotten a black for the cone thing, but
that could have been a lot worse, though. So third caution of the night. This now going to set us up for a restart with less than 10 laps to go. Looks like a lot of drivers elected to come down pit lane there. More than likely a number of the drivers collected up in that incident. I'll have to double check on who the lucky dogs are. I believe one of them is Bob Dixon. Not 100% certain who the second is. Might be Billy Elliser in the 26. And it looks like that is the case. See the mellow yellow machine there up in the third lane. So he's working his way up there with Dixon to go around, get their laps back. Should be lap 61, I think, when we go back green. We have lap machines here as well, so there is every likelihood that when we go back green, next flag could end the race. We're going to be very close to that point of no return line.
Yeah, I feel like this could potentially be the last restart.
Mentioned Denny Carroll out of the race. He's currently in 36th. In a couple of laps, Bernie Mobbs will surpass him, drop Carroll to 37th. So we've got 36 drivers currently running. When Dixon and Elliser get their laps back, we'll have 31 drivers on the lead lap. Grant Wesley has led the most laps so far tonight, 27 circuits out in front. Jessica Shelton has led 11. Randy Waugh, when he completes this lap, he will also have completed 11 laps out in front. 2 laps led apiece for Brian Schilling and Brian Rawson, and then one lap
Brian
each.
And Brian show?
The Brian and Brian. And then Ulysses Sandoval, Josh Metallic, Dante Ricky, Craig Hagley, Terry Bombard, and Jeremy Jeffries have all led 1 lap each. Well, we've seen drivers make some decisions in which lanes they want to restart in, and a couple of times it has not necessarily worked out to their benefit. So big decision here for Randy Waugh on which lane he wants to choose here for this upcoming restart. He'll take the bottom, chooses Ulysses Sandoval as his pusher. Donnie Garrett will be on the top side. He'll have the 2-time winner, the defending champion Tim Nofsker, behind him.
Going to be interesting if Randy can get clear. He just have to move up because the outside lane does get the run, but it depends on if Ulysses can get a good restart.
Yeah, we've seen the outside get a better restart. I think on every restart tonight. So.
And you look back there on that outside line, you got Grant Wesley, Ken Roberts, Dunn LaPrade. How long do they wait to maybe formulate a third lane? You can't just ride there in that second lane if you're going to move forward.
I don't think it'll be long.
So we're going to go back green, lap 61. I
Which
believe we would
gives
have
us about a lap.
Yeah, I would say we'd have to have a caution on this lap, right? This upcoming lap for us to be able to have enough time in regulation for a 1-lap shootout.
Yes.
So if we get back around, we give the usual disclaimer. If a caution comes out, we watch the race back to the start-finish line. That's the proverbial checkered flag, although that wasn't necessarily the case 2 weeks ago. The leader coming to the race-ending caution was not the eventual winner, but we will watch the battle back to the start-finish line. We'll go back, look at any necessary replays, either during the final pacing laps or post-race. Randy Waugh looking for his first win in the Talladega Challenge Series. Donnie Garrett joins him on that front row. Green flag waves. 6 to go.
Donnie got a good restart. We'll see if the 21 can get clear, but right now the top lane isn't all that on top of each other.
All comes down to the push-ins.
Ulysses Sandoval all over the back bumper of Waugh. Now he goes to the inside for the lead.
He almost had.
And now he tries to come back down. Sandoval's there.
This ain't gonna end well.
Outside lane's gonna get it right here.
Stuck in the middle. Top 2 get cleared. Garrett to the top spot. Nofsker to second. Now Sandoval will get to his inside. Here comes Chuck McClure up on the top side. Looking 3 wide. Nofsker moves up to cover that.
Randy Waugh just got eaten alive on that restart. Jeez.
Almost 4 wide through the triangle. We are 4 wide. Breedlove's in the wall. Garrett. Oh, Godfrey up and over. We've got a full lap to finish this thing out as cars are tumbling into turn 1.
This is going to be it right here.
This is it. We've got 2.66 miles to settle this out. Sandoval now into second. Here comes Schilling to the top side. Sandoval covers. Schilling goes to the bottom. Looking 3 wide. He's going to get forced below the yellow line. Still 3 wide. Nofsker into the wall. There they go. McClure. Ricky. Metallic tumbling. Wesley as well. Still side by side off of 4. Sandoval trying to stay to the right rear. Schilling with the 96.
Ulysses has the help on the outside. Is going to be enough.
Gonna be
he's
contact
pushing.
made. Schilling gonna shoot the middle. Coming to the line. Garrett. Sandoval. Garrett's
got
gonna
it.
get it. Donnie Garrett's gonna get it.
So the 96 comes oh so close once again.
His second runner-up finish on the season. Scoring shows 18 one-thousandths of a second. Garrett over Sandoval. Rodney Sullins unofficially third, Schilling fourth, Knopfsker fifth, but there's a ton of drivers back there that took massive hits. The initial wreck on the front straightaway and then that subsequent wreck over in the entrance to turn 3. Let's go back and see what happened during all of that. First car was John Godfrey going up and over just past the start-finish line to end this thing under yellow.
I think it was another case of bumper grab, potentially. Right there. Nope, someone hit the wall. He goes down, bounces off the 10. And
Wow,
then
look
just
how
right
quickly
back
that car went up and over.
A lot of cars.
Holy
oh my
cow!
Oh my
Jeremy
goodness.
Jeremy Jeffries nearly took out our camera.
Holy.
It's like 4
Moly.
cars upside down at that point. Oh my
Gracious,
Jeremy-
that's Harris upside down, Sheck upside down, McCarsky
Jeffries-
flipped.
Jeremy Jeffries just pulled a Ryan Priest.
Yeah, in a way.
How was Jeremy Jeffries able to drive away after that?
I don't know. Michael said these cars are durable.
Because physics, that's why.
Gracious.
Hey, look, TV2. He got bumped kind of down there. But just immediately.
Breedlove goes up and over. Paglia,
That's-
look at...
The one legit did a
Like,
Ryan
Paglia grabs Jeffries, flips him up onto the 8 of Glenn Harris.
We have a suplex.
Gracious.
And this wasn't the only wreck that happened.
No! Let's follow the 1.
Let me go on board with the 1. I want to see this.
Look how far back he is when we bring you back here on this onboard. Look how far back he is from where the wreck even starts.
I didn't know he was back there, to be honest. I thought he was at least a little closer to the front.
Take a look at this. Plenty of space to get through, right?
No,
Wrong.
no, he never lifted.
Wow. Look at that thing.
He's in the catch fence.
Another one that would have an interesting onboard, I think, is the 9 of Jessica
I
Shelton.
think you're
She
right.
made it through this, but
Here's with the Hershey's Cookies and Creams machine. It amazes me just how quickly that 7-Eleven caught air. Just the angle that he hit the 6.
Yep. Oh, she didn't
Well,
quite make it through.
well, she kept it going.
Ah,
Grabbed a gear and kept going. Now we should look at the second.
yeah, so that was, as Kyle said, that was just the first wreck.
But wait,
Now-
there's more.
Did Josh 2 get involved in it? Was he texting? This was just everyone racing back at this point.
Gonna follow the 39 rather of Josh Metallic.
Yeah, there's just at this point you're 4 wide.
McClure
And there
comes
was a-
down, and then look at this.
Oh, Dante's in the catch fence.
Chuck
we had, like,
McClure's
what-
riding the catch fence.
So we had like what 8 cars go upside down on this lap.
I lost count. Well,
Oh,
if not Josh, there's 9.
Now watch this all be wrong and there actually be a restart.
There's no way.
I know. Yeah, there was just nothing they can do at that point. They was just squeezing for position. 88th on his roof. And then he gets clobbered again.
Gets hit by somebody. I don't know who
and then
that
Josh
was.
Chu's like, thanks guys, I'll be right back.
17 kept going.
Yeah, but with smoking like that, your car will only stay alive for very long.
I thought Grant initially looked like he could have gotten through that. I think he got hit up into the wreck by somebody. Who's below him? Oh, he might have. Oh, he got bumped by Ken Roberts. And then who's the car that hits him here? It's gonna be the 21, Randy Waugh. Brian Rawson goes on by. Ron Hagelin goes on by. A lot of drivers that cross the line there outside of the top 15 have a shot potentially of finishing up inside of the top 10 with everything that we saw go down right there. Believe we've just hit the line for 2 laps to go.
I would laugh hysterically hard that the lights on the pace car were off.
Yeah, they're not.
I know.
Say they're lining up side by side like they're going for a restart, but we know that's not going to happen.
So currently,
Imagine
after the
Donnie
fall
Garrett
of
just
everything
runs out
we
of
saw
gas.
there, we saw a number of drivers continue on because they want to at least finish the race. Don't want to suffer a DNF. Those that weren't able to do so, Josh Metallic, Dante Ricky, Jason Scheck. Everybody else trying to continue on. That 17 of Chuck McClure, he's going to have a lot of black flags cleared here with dropping debris. Jeremy Jeffries might have to have the same thing. I mean, look at some of these names here, as mentioned, that were able to get through all that are going to net top 10s. We gave you the top 5. We got Doug Kulik. He's slated to finish 6th. Craig Hagley in 7th. Terry Bombard going to finish in 9th. Greg Palmer in 10th. These are a bunch of drivers that we didn't talk a whole lot about tonight. A few of them we talked about when they were involved in early cautions, but they're going to finish out the evening with a decent points night. And Donnie Garrett going to see the white flag, driver that came into this race 10th in the point standing, so he was already potentially locked in on points. Now he's going to solidify it with his first race victory of the season.
And then there's just one car back there, which
That's
is
Chuck.
17.
That's what I'm saying.
I feel bad for the car behind him. Can't see.
Gives new meaning to the words dirty air.
Looks like the car wanted a cigarette there, so.
Sandoval, as mentioned, second time that he's going to end up runner-up this season, but has been very strong, very consistent this year. And Rodney Sullins, a driver that really needed a good run here tonight, trying to build off the momentum of the great performance he had a couple of weeks ago at Talladega. Don't know if this will necessarily already advance him into the top 12, but it'll get him pretty darn close with 3 races now remaining in the regular season. And the commentator's curse didn't strike him. Brian Schilling, guys, is going to go a perfect 6 for 6 in finishing top 5 this season. I don't know how he does it.
I don't know how that's possible.
Some drivers celebrate just having 1 top 5 during the course of a season.
Oh, you talk about Tim Nofsker?
No, Schilling.
Oh, yeah.
Nofsker came into this race 8 points behind Brian Schilling. He'll finish 1 position behind, so that battle will still be close. Grant Wesley, though, who was involved in that follow-up wreck over in turn 3, he'll finish 21st, so he'll lose a little bit of ground in that battle. Same for Chuck McClure, who right now looks like he will finish this race in the 20th position. But here they come through the tri-oval. Donnie Garrett going to bring us down to the start-finish line. It'll be the first win of season 64 for him. It'll be an automatic lock into the postseason. Garrett will win at Burt Screwdrivers Raceway. And there's always one driver that always spins out the leader. Who's it going to be, or the winner? Who's it going to be this week?
Well, the leader's playing defense this week.
Who's it going to be? There's always one. Come on.
Ain't nobody right now.
Well, Donnie Garrett was one of the drivers in
They're playing ping pong.
Donnie Garrett was one of the drivers in that bracket challenge final 8, taking on Bob Dixon. This win will advance him into the final 4. Looks like Mike Mangialardi, he'll be moving on. Sandoval, going to be moving on as well. And Brian Schilling. So we'll have Sandoval versus Mangialardi and Garrett versus Schilling next week to advance into the finals as Donnie Garrett. Oh no, gosh, that's one way to do a burnout, I guess.
The winner's going to wreck himself this week.
Clean car, no longer. And right on the start-finish line, under the flag stand, against the Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway logo, Donnie Garrett burns it down. His first victory of season 64. Little added security to advance into the postseason. And now Alan Kulwicki, the Polish victory lap through the tri-oval.
Much faster Polish victory lap, but
well, Donnie Garrett, he had to bring the defense there on that final run to the checkers. Had him 3 wide, 4 wide behind him. Sandoval got to his outside, put up a challenge, but Garrett able to just barely edge out for the victory. And now he will get to celebrate here tonight under the lights at BSR. Let's take a look here as he continues his celebration at your finishing results from tonight. Garrett with the win. Sandoval will finish in second. Sullins brings it home on the podium in third. We'll be talking with those 3 drivers in just a moment. Schilling's top 5 streak continues as he will bring it home fourth. Nofsker will complete the top 5. Doug Gulick was 6th. Craig Hagley 7th. Great run for Bob Seminara in 8th, with Terry Bombard and Greg Palmer coming back from early adversity to finish 9th and 10th. Ken Roberts was 11th. 12th for Dunn LaPrade. 13th, Graham McDonald. 14th, Mike Mangialardi. Josh 2 in his first start of the season, 15th for him. Brian Rawson will finish 16th. Randy Waugh in 17th. Bob Dixon, Jessica Schulten, Chuck McClure will be your top 20. Grant Wesley will finish 21st. Billy Elliser 22nd. 23rd for Bobby Farrell. Glenn Harris 24th. Pat McCarsky 25th. And the last 2 drivers finished on the lead lap were Jeremy Jeffries, Robert Breedlove in 26th and 27th. 1 lap down each, Greg Lovell, Ron Hagelin, Cy Jones, and Mark Paglia. Bernie Mobbs, John Godfrey, 3 laps down each. Drivers who did not reach the conclusion after 4 cautions during the course of the night: Josh Metallic, Dante Ricky, Jason Scheck, Denny Carroll, Brian Lovell, Nate Balser, Richard Martin, and Keith Bynum. Going to be interesting to see what the fallout is from this race in regards to the playoffs. Who's around that 12th position cut line? Of course, as well, drivers that might have fallen out of the top 12 with wins, their eligibility for wildcard positions, and that overall points lead battle with only 3 races to go. Remember, 15 points paid out to the regular season championship at the close of the regular season on the eve of the playoff battle. As we will now head into our FRN post-race wind down and get ready to dial up our podium finishers from the night after a wild one here at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Let's see if we can get a hold of the driver that brought it home, P3. So we can talk with Rodney Sullins.
User was moved to your
Hey,
channel.
Rodney, Michael, Kyle, Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got us?
Holy cow, sure do. What's up, fellas?
I'll tell you what, wild finish to this one here tonight. Obviously ended under caution, but a heck of a final lap if it's got to be a final lap like that. Beating and banging, blocking multiple lanes, 4 wide on occasion, and you were right in the middle of all of that. We saw you almost be able to kind of follow Brian up there with that 3 wide move. And anything you could have done in that situation, or were you a spectator kind of being the deciding factor in who was going to win this one?
Man, I was flying around BSR like an eagle in my short sleeve shirt. And hopefully if anybody watched the ASA race, they would know what that's from. But I mean, the ARCA race. Yeah, there you go. No, man, I was trying to stick my nose in a couple spots, and Donnie come down on it there at the end and did a great block. But I was just, I was just going to follow. I wanted a good finish. I'm trying to climb my way back up into the top 12. It's been rough. So I just wanted a good finish, and then it started to open, and I'd stick my nose, and it'd kind of get cut off. I'd get a little push from behind, a little bang from here and there, and I didn't know if I was going to make it, back to the checkered flag, or back to the stripe for the caution flag. Actually, from turn 2 all the way around, man, I was white knuckled and puckered and just holding on for dear life.
You talk about wanting the good points tonight here. We've documented the struggles you had early on the season. Now beginning to climb your way up into the conversation to maybe point up at least into the top 12. And we were talking about here tonight, we're down the home stretch of this regular season. Drivers now, some of them may have a sense of desperation where they're looking at race win over points, or points over race win, or just consistency overall. And then we got to a point in the race, and I think it was Michael made the comment, I don't think they're thinking about points anymore. They're up here in the top 10. They got a shot at this victory. How difficult is it for like a driver in your situation here, where you're looking for those consistent finishes, but you also got a shot to lock yourself in via a win, to balance just how hard you want to push, how aggressive you want to be with those moves, and how reserved you maybe want to be to make sure you at least bring the car back in one piece?
Well, that's the deal. You're on the razor's edge here. You want to try to do what you can. You want to try to win to lock yourself in. Because if I had a win, I'd be locked in right now, being in the top 20. So you want to push. You want to get up there and get that checkered flag. But you know that if you make a mistake and it takes you out, or if it's at the end of the race and it's your fault, you lose a lap, for the penalty. So right now, I mean, don't get me wrong. If things would have if I'd have got a little bit more opening there coming to the line, I'd have. Well, I was going for it, but Donnie made a great block there. I was trying. Kind of thought I was going to turn him at that point. I wasn't sure because I didn't really want to lift, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, don't screw this up, because you've got a good finish. So I'm just like, let's take what we can get and go to the next week.
Oh, the last time we were here at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway, you brought it home on the podium in third. Back-to-back visits to this racetrack, another podium finish, and the news gets better, Rodney. Points are in. You've got yourself up in the top 12, now 11th in points with 3 races yet to work with. So good positioning for you here down this home stretch. We'll see if you can maybe get that victory. If not, continue to climb up in the point standings to advance your way into the playoffs here in season 64. Congratulations on the great run here tonight with what we saw there on this final lap running to the caution. Congratulations on surviving, because we lost count how many cars were flipping upside down there from turn 1 over to turn 3. Before we let you go, the floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shout outs.
Yeah, that was crazy. I can't wait to watch that, because I know from my view itself, just sitting in the cockpit, it was awesome. It was awesome, gut wrenching, awesome. But yeah, thank you. I'm glad to know that I'm in the top 12. Thanks for that. Yeah, you guys, obviously, Seth, Michael, Kyle, can't wait to listen to this. FRN is top notch. You guys are phenomenal. Can't wait to watch it back. RTG owners, Bones, Prime. Can't say enough for what they do to keep this going. My co-admins, I guess I'm the third of the bunch. Josh and Tim, those guys do a great job, and I appreciate them for doing this, because I've loved this since I first started a few years ago running this series. I want to thank Donnie Garrett and Ultimate Garage Floors for sponsoring you guys to be here. Bob and Tom Dixon. Again, I want to thank John Godfrey for this Wrangler car. It's a beautiful car. He's a phenomenal painter. Black Rifle Coffee, Habana Brisa, all my Burnt Screwdrivers Racing teammates. Couldn't do anything without those guys. And congrats, Donnie, again on your win. And I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. I can't wait to watch this back tonight.
Rodney Sullivan's third place here this evening. Solid points night, and now finds himself above the playoff cutoff line heading into next week at Talladega Super Speedway. Congratulations on the great run, Rodney. Best of luck next week and the remainder of this regular season.
Hey, thanks, Seth. Dad, I hope you loved that one. I hope you watched it and enjoyed it. I'm sure you were probably chatting back and forth with Seth. But anyway, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Absolutely. That's Rodney Sullivan's third place
User was
finisher
moved out of your
here this
channel.
evening. Let's see if we dial up the driver that came officially 18 one-thousandths of a second, just shy of his first victory in the series. Let's dial up Ulysses Sandoval.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Ulysses, Kyle Michael Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us? Well, we'll give it another try.
I got you.
Ah, there we go. All right.
I was in the living room for a bottle of water.
Hey, no
I had to
problem.
run.
No problem. Look, so we could talk about the hardship here. Second time in a photo finish, you've been on the losing end. But I want to focus on something positive here, because if we go back last season, the last couple of seasons, you were happy to finish up there in the top 10, top 15. We're seeing you up in the conversation week after week now. Top 5, top 3. This is your second place finish of the season. You come now, after this race is concluded with 3 races left, 5th in the point standings. This has been a career year for you. How does that got to feel for you, and how far you've been able to come here, adapting to the style of the super speedway racing with all these talented super speedway drivers, and now you're up there in the conversation every week in the hunt for this checkered flag?
Well, to be honest, I have no idea how I made it through this so far. And yeah, the last previous seasons are forgettable for me, because even if I made it top 10, even for one race, I was always outside the playoff picture. I missed the chase. I missed my brackets. This season is finally my season, and since I started in the top 10 in points, I really made a lot of effort to learn. Not only learn about how to be fast, because I also had to learn about knowing other people, how they race each other. I finally found a group to race with, and I really understand how to race with others. So, but it really was a long journey, a long short journey for me to learn how to race on super speedways. I was very passionate with super speedways, and right here racing with the big dogs is it really feels that I'm accomplishing something, even though I haven't gotten a win, or the chases hasn't started yet. So everything can happen. But I made it this far, and I'm happy with it. That's all.
Well, we've covered this series enough to know that you get enough of those second place finishes, a win is on the horizon.
I really thought you had that thing won. You had the 4-car pushing you there at the end. Came up just short, but you got to feel like that win is coming, right?
Yeah, we were racing so hard for the lead. I mean, we were both side by side since when we were in the backstretch. We kept it side by side until we get to the line. I had a push from Brian, but then we were dooring each other's with Donnie. So that got Brian away from my line, and I lost it. I lost it. So yeah, I definitely had a lot to rewatch for tonight to learn what not to do on the next race for the yellow.
Well, we have a number of drivers that have nicknames, have monikers. We've had nicknames for you. We remember the back of the days of Ulysses Sexy Sandoval. We had you at one point when you had that horrific wreck up in the catch fence. We had Ulysses No Leg Sandoval. Here tonight, I noticed that you were Ulysses Cheeseburger Sandoval. So can we get some backstory on that one?
Oh well, that's from my job. Um, it's kind of like an eternal joke, because I am Hispanic. I have a long name, so I told them just call me like that, and I will answer you quickly. And so that's why it's a cheese. So they just say cheeseburger. It's cheeseburger. Come here. Come here.
So is that the nickname we're running with now?
Yes.
So we've got a biscuit out there with some in there, and now we got a cheeseburger with you. Okay, so Kyle, you were talking about getting hungry with a cookies and cream car out there. I think you're gonna get hungrier as these weeks go on.
I love me some cheeseburgers and biscuits now. So
I'm gonna say that, like, I'm hungry now, and I'm over here snacking on some chips.
What about a cheeseburger on a biscuit?
I'd try it.
How does it taste?
I don't know.
How about a cheeseburger on a biscuit smothered in sausage gravy?
They've kind of lost me on the gravy there, but
How about a hamburger?
With no cheese, no thank you.
That sounds like a Carson order, but then there wouldn't be a burger either.
wouldn't even have the meat if that.
It'd just be a biscuit. It would just be Seminara. But Ulysses, congratulations on the great run tonight. Again, as said, this has been a career year for you. You're now 5th in overall points with 3 races left in this regular season. Definitely looking like a sure lock to at least point your way in. As we said, looks like that win is definitely on the horizon. You keep this consistency up. Before we let you go, though, floor is yours for thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Yeah, there ain't no cheese without the no cheese without the cheese word. That's the idea. All right. I heard that Danny Guerra has a special dedication for this race, so I'm also gonna dedicate this race to my mom, mother, Mama Sandoval. She's the best mother ever. She's a hardworking woman who has put a lot of effort on raise her kids, her 30-year-old kids now. So big shout out to Mama. I gave her another top 5. Hopefully next time I get her a win. Big shout out to her. Big shout out to my friends, and guess I will see you next time.
Absolutely. Ulysses Sandoval looks to keep this momentum up down the home stretch of this regular season. Another top 5 finish for him here this evening. 2nd place at Burn Screwdrivers Raceway. Congratulations on the great run. Best of luck next week when we head to Talladega.
Thank you. See you, Seth. See you, Michael. See you, Tony.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
User was moved out of your
All
channel.
right, well, Kyle, I'll tell you what. We were just talking about nicknames. You're a wrestling fan. You're going to love the nickname of this next guy. We're going to dial up the Nature Boy, tonight's race winner, Donnie Garrett.
User was moved to your channel.
Hey, Donnie, Michael, Kyle, Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got a copy?
I got you guys.
I'll tell you what. You had to throw some big-time blocks there on that last lap coming to the caution flag. You got the lead, but had to hold on to it. Your situation and points looked really good, but now you got that added security with this race victory. How tough was it to keep them at bay? Because at one point, they were 4 wide in your rearview mirror.
Oh, I know. I didn't look out the front mirror probably the last 2 laps. When I saw that caution come out, it was early, and I said, man, I got a long way to try to fend these dudes off. And Ulysses, pretty boy Ulysses there, he gave me a run, man. And I thought he was going to get it. And Brian pulled down and made that move, and I had to pull down there and block him. I hate doing that to him, but just doing what you got to do up there, man. It's just everything happens so fast. And just made all the right moves and come out on top of this thing.
A lot of times when we talk about this home stretch of the regular season, we focus a lot on drivers either on that 12th in the standings cut line or below, but there's just as much pressure on drivers just above set cut line. You were one of those drivers coming in tonight, 10th in overall point standings. In the situation, from start to finish, where was your main focus? Were you looking race win all the way? Were you looking at a consistent run, garner points, and build that gap up? Or did it change as the race went on?
It changed as the race goes on. The problem that I have out here, I have no teammates, and you got these guys out here running 5, 6, 7 guys, and they're staying together. It's hard, man, to beat them. And you look who's around you. If they're teammates, hey, you don't get near them because they're going to hang you out probably. And I just found myself up front. Me and the 21, we did an early pit stop and come out and went by everybody. I was just, man, I love running with him. I want to talk to him next week and maybe make a little deal with that guy. But there at the end, I think he thought I was going to let him up, and he didn't tell me. And unfortunately got put in the middle and got shoved to the back. But it just, I found myself at the front, luckily, and I knew that, hey, this probably ain't going to last long. I think it was 4 or 5 laps or 6 laps to go on that restart. I figured it wasn't going to last long, and I knew I was going to make some serious blocks. And but where I was at in points, I felt like I had a little to give maybe if I needed to, but a win kind of locks me in. Now I want more. I want more wins now, so I can get more bonus points for the for the playoffs.
That actually answers my next question. I was going to say, what does that do now for the agenda going forward? But you just answered it there with looking for more victories. You also talk about the situation there with having no teammates. Does that kind of is that more of a hindrance than a help? Because I would kind of think as well, if you don't have teammates, you could kind of freelance your way around and work with different teams in different situations to be able to work your way forward to the front.
Yeah, it plays that sometimes actually, and sometimes it's better not to have teammates. I'm a guy that runs the bottom, as we've talked about before. I always try to run the bottom and stay there, and it's safer. You got somewhere to go if a wreck happens. And a lot of these teams, they like to get up on that top line and roll, and I'm like, things are looking a little sketchy. I want to get out, and I'll get out of it, and and they get mad. And it's like, hey, look, and then a wreck happens, they all end up in it. So it's like, I see things before they happen. And to be good at this, you have to be able to see stuff before it happens. And been doing it a long time. And so, yeah, it hinders me a lot, but it also helps me a lot. And so, yeah, it could go either way.
Well, definitely helped you here this evening. You bring it home with the victory. Now you just got to keep it in the top 20 in points, and you're going to be going playoff racing in a few weeks' time. Donnie, congratulations on the job well done. We could tell the excitement of that victory and your celebration that took place there, not only at the start-finish line, but that Polish victory lap as well. We're now going to hand the mic over to you for Victory Lane. Thank you, sponsors, and shout-outs.
Absolutely, man. I want to thank all you guys. And I thank all the owners and admin over here. I think Rodney's going to be great. And speaking of Rodney, what about that paint scheme? I mean, that Ernie Irvin throwback, man. Ernie Irvin was my dude, man. He was the first guy that just spoke his mind and didn't really care what anybody thought about it. And I'm that kind of guy. And so he was my hero. And me and Rodney were trying to find a car, and Rodney come up with that for me. So I really appreciate Rodney. I mean, I told him when he met, I said, man, put about 4 extra coats of clear on that damn thing, because I need that thing slick. And I think he did it, because like I say, man, I held him off tonight and got this win. And man, I'm so happy, and just looking forward to next week.
Well, that is Donnie Garrett. He is your winner here tonight at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. First win of season 64, and locks him into the playoff postseason. He's got 3 more races still to work with. We'll see what he's able to do here heading down towards the eve of the playoffs. Congratulations on the win, Donnie. Go and enjoy it, and hopefully maybe we talk to you next week if you're able to go back-to-back.
Woo!
Donnie Garrett, the nature boy, going to victory lane here
User was
tonight.
moved out of your channel.
Guys, I got a little interesting statistics for you about Donnie Garrett. Donnie led the final 6 laps of this race. Guess how many laps he's led this entire season?
6?
Those 6.
Wow.
What a time to peak. What a time to get yourself to the front.
What a time
Stay
to
at the
peak.
front at the right moment to get that victory.
Well, they led the 6 laps that mattered the most in this race.
Absolutely. So a
Yeah,
number of
it was definitely
drivers,
a fun race.
a number of drivers here tonight that were outside of the top 12 in the point standings have now moved their way in. Mike Mangialardi, we mentioned that he's going to be moving on the next round of the bracket challenge. He's now jumped up from 13th to 10th. We talked with Rodney Selwins, who moved up 7 spots to now 11th. Greg Palmer, he had some early issues, and he was able to battle back for a solid top 10 finish. He moves up 5 spots into the 9th position. So on the flip side, some drivers have fallen out of the top 12. It's going to be a fisticuffs for that 12th and final playoff position, I feel like, when we get to that final regular season race. And with super speedway racing so unpredictable, the full fields that we've had every single week, we're not going to know really who the official 12, potentially 13, 14, if we have wildcard drivers, are going to be until that checkered flag waves. And maybe not even till then. Factor in potential penalties and everything. We might not even know what the playoff grid looks like until we get ready to go green in that first playoff race.
Yep, and it's going to be interesting to watch and figure out as to what's going to happen.
Well, 3 races left here in the regular season. Another 2 times at Talladega. We'll be back here at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway in 2 weeks' time, and that will set the drivers that will be battling for the championship. We already know a number of them: Schilling, Nofsker, Wesley, Garrett now most recently, as well as Bob Dixon, all with victories. A lot of drivers making clear cases for themselves to point their way in, but We still got a lot of racing still left to go before we can officially put that playoff grid together. Congratulations once again to Donnie Garrett picking up the victory here tonight at Burnt Screwdrivers Raceway. Hope you guys enjoyed our coverage here this evening. Next week, we've got the doubleheader for you again, a Wednesday-Thursday night combo. Wednesday night, it's the Esports Oval League, the Grind Cup Series. They will be at their first short track stop, Richmond International Raceway. That'll be Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the green flag will fly there. And then we'll be back here Thursday night, continuing on the 64th season of the RTG Rolling Thunder Gaming Talladega Challenge Series from Talladega Super Speedway. That green flag also will fly at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you guys will join us for that. Michael, Kyle, appreciate you jumping up here in the booth here tonight. Another thriller. I don't know what is about this track now. It's gotten really racy. We've had some really good finishes. We got one more visit to this during the regular season, and we got the high banks, the 3 wide, several rows deep of Talladega coming up next week.
It's a fun race to call tonight. Probably the most fun I've had so far this season. Looking forward to the rest of the races.
I absolutely agree. I can't wait.
Well, cannot wait to see what's around the corner here as we continue the final stages of this regular season. For Michael Norman, Kyle Matthews, I'm Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday night, folks. We'll see you guys next week as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of FRN, the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope